Hey crew, I've got the key to this Bentley Flying Spur Speed. And this week, we're gonna see what it's like to live with. I'm gonna start by unplugging it from where I had it charging up for just a couple hours this morning, and it really only takes that amount of time to fully replenish the battery. Now let's take a look at spacing in my driveway, which is 16 feet wide by 19.5 feet long. I've got the Bentley tires actually hovering a little over the edge, maybe an inch or two, and this car is sitting next to a Buick Envista that my wife is reviewing. If you want to check out her content, it's at Mobile Mama on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. She has that one just a few inches in from the edge, and with that spacing, there is still lots of room to walk between the vehicles. Power folding door mirrors on the Bentley do help. And then looking at the front of the car, which is hovering over the gutter, I do have these curb ramps here to help with clearance, but you don't really need it unless you're crashing in and out of your driveway every day. And I do have the nose where it is on purpose because this car is 17 feet long, a little over that in fact. So when I get to the back of it, there is just enough room to make it in front of the hedge on the path to my front door. When first getting in with the key fob on me, I can put my hand on any of the 4 door handles to unlock all the doors. And as I open that big heavy door, I can find that first defined notch. Ooh, and the Bentley puddle lamp is sparkling at me during the day. That's impressive. Beyond that notch, I can stop the door wherever I want and it will hold position so I can optimize the space between me and the vehicle parked next to me. Then getting in, there isn't a big distance between this thick seat and the top of the roof, so I do kind of have to tilt my head forward while scooting my butt back so I don't make contact with that. But it isn't so low, so getting into the car isn't like crashing down into a sports car. It's more like a crossover. Then closing that door, I do have the soft close function. Hello, cabin crew. Thanks for joining for this day in the life in the Bentley Flying Spur Speed. In this video, I want to see what it's like to live with the sportiest of these ultra luxury sedans. Now, as I fire it up, I hear from the seat adjusting to my driver's seat, I hear the door mirrors opening and the screen flipping over from wood to display, but I do not hear anything of that 4-liter twin-turbo V8 because there is charge in the battery and therefore it's beginning life as an EV. This silence is what you will have to greet you early in the morning and what your neighbors will appreciate on your way out. Now, before we blast out of here, let me show you where I would place the items I bring with me every day. Like my iPhone, which is sitting on the wireless charging pad, and there is room around it for a larger phone than my 17 Pro. I couldn't, however, fit my 32-ounce metal water bottle anywhere in this cabin. Not in the doors, not in the... That's right, there isn't a console. This is just an adjusting armrest. So I had to bring a single-use plastic bottle, which does fit in the cup holder. My sunglasses do fit in this little cubby on either side of the console, and it's leather-lined to protect the lenses. The key fob could just go in the other cup holder, I suppose, but it's sitting in my pocket. In this door cubby, I did fit my Racebox 0 to 60 timer and my Ray-Ban Meta sunglass case, and then in the upper handle, I have my slimline wallet. So you do have little nooks and crannies for smaller items, but big stuff is gonna have to stay at home. Now let me throw on my seatbelt before pulling the gear selector towards me into drive, and that is automatically going to release the parking brake. I can start rolling on forward, making sure I am clear here over that left curb ramp, turning the wheel, and easily making it past my neighbor's basketball hoops on my way out. It is a rather chill start to one's day behind the wheel of the Flying Spur because we have amenities such as, dual zone climate, but then heated or vented seats in 3 different stages, and one of my favorite features, a heated steering wheel. It just has one setting though. I wish it had multiple so I could keep it on at a low level all day and tenderly warm my hands, but alas, it does get too hot at a certain point. I'd have to turn that off. There is also a massage with many different settings, all of them being excellent. And then I have the combination of quiet provided by this thoroughly well-insulated cabin and the electric propulsion I'm now experiencing until the battery runs out of juice. Or I switch into a different E mode, like hybrid, which just lets the car decide when to use electric energy or gas power, or I can have it hold on to charge for later use, like if I'm on the highway and I don't want to expense all of the battery's charge and then just use it on surface streets, or I can actually have it charge back up the battery. Again, the highway scenario is good for that. Or if I go into sport, because that is gonna turn on that 4-liter bi-turbo V8. But I don't need sport mode right now, and so I'm gonna go back to the Bentley mode, which will put us back in EV eventually. There we go. And I didn't feel that transition at all, much in the same way that when I turned back on the engine, apart from hearing that boisterous V8, I don't feel it turn on. I don't feel the chassis move. The ride is crazy compliant over imperfections in the road. I do hear some of those bumps, whereas if I was in a Rolls Royce, maybe I wouldn't feel them or hear them. But gosh, just driving this car gently around town is lovely. And under braking, there's good response from that pedal, but I can measure it out to smoothly arrive at that stop. And then if I press my foot hard in, it's going to hold it for me. So I get a brake. You know, if you hear the turn signal over just about anything else, that a cabin is well insulated. And another thing I really appreciate about daily driving this car is despite its length, it is incredibly maneuverable. That turning circle is ridiculous and so appreciated. But now you're wondering to yourself, what does the horn sound like? Someone is driving recklessly on the road and they deserve a horn beep. What do they get out of the Bentley? So dignified, so pleasant. Maybe they won't be offended at all. That's not what you wanted. You know, the only thing I really have to complain about in this car, from a daily driving perspective, is that if I am sitting at that light and relaxing, my massage may have turned off, because it does time out. And it should just stay on until I turn it off, which is never. Then when it is time to accelerate, there's 771 horsepower, 738 pound-feet of torque. So, wow, getting up to speed is so very easy. Now, the problem with knowing you have as much power as you do is that you rarely feel like you get the chance to use it. So when you do have open stretches of road, you're gonna use it. Oh my, are you gonna use it? Holy cow! This is a rapid automobile. Like, you don't need all of it, but when you do use it, prepare for lots of speed. Now, granted, as you are going rather quickly, you don't feel any less settled. Like, if you go full throttle, you do get that initial shove back in the seat, which are so very comfortable, by the way. So you're not upset about that. The G-force is good. But then beyond that, it does satisfy those urges. Now we do need to capture some data in a real-world 0 to 60 test. I've got my race box set up here to record. I'm in the sport drive mode. Foot is on the brake. Holding it for launch, letting go. Okay. That's 60 in 3.17 seconds. Supercar acceleration in a private lounge. And that's not the only super thing about it. The way it handles is really impressive. Oh my gosh, it rotates! I enjoyed that way too much to not do that again. So here, carrying good speed into this curve before going hard on those brakes. A little wiggly, but you know what? We stopped, and then the turn in and the rotation, little understeer, but liftoff will correct it and tuck it in and shove it out the back end so fast. This is an almost 6,000 pound car, and I'm toying with it like a Miata. Speak of the devil, ooh, this one's all prepped for the track. Now, of course, the major differences between something like this, all-wheel drive, almost 6,000 pounds, and a lightweight rear-drive sports car, it's an exhaustive list. But one big differentiator is that car doesn't have a rear-wheel steering system, which helped this thing maneuver as well as it did in tight spaces, but it also means it turns in crazy fast. So you'll find yourself turning in just a little too early for curves, but when you do adapt, the dynamics are just incredible. Then I spotted this R32 GTR right-hand drive. I'm not gonna cut off the cyclist, don't worry. And I just needed to go take another look. Oh, it's actually going where I'm going. This is brilliant. Goodbye, beautiful. How often is a GTR chased down by a Bentley? But I guess it just happens if the Bentley driver is an imposter. And after all that excitement of the driving and the car spotting, I certainly don't need this. Well, actually, I never need it because I drink decaf, but either way, I'm gonna get some coffee here at Moon Goat Coffee Roasters. And I've found a parking space out here next to an enemy, BMW, and a friend, an Audi. Cousin, more like it. Anyway, I'm gonna back into that space. Going into reverse prompts a high-res camera system. I've got the bird's eye view off to the left and trajectory lines on the right-hand side so I can maneuver, and it's really pretty easy. And parking sensors tell me when to stop, which is now. Let's get coffee. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
No problem. Ooh, a little parking lot car spotting with a Corolla. Nice. A staple of this parking lot, E63 wagon, blacked out Rolls-Royce Spectre. Wow. And a 991 Porsche 911 Turbo S. And now back to the Bentley, which I did reposition between the Spectre and the E63 to give me some room to admire it. And there is a lot to admire, because this car is spec'd perfectly. You can either go one of two ways. Get an out loud exterior color like my M2 CS or the Demon 170 or the Blackwing, and then a more subdued interior, or the opposite, like this car. You have a purple interior, it's more of a plum, not too bright, and then this more reserved champagne, they call it light gazelle color. And I'm not typically one to like champagne colored cars, but this paint job is fantastic because it accentuates the hard creases of this line, especially that hip crease. And then the black details for the grille and the flying bee hood ornament and the surrounds for the cut crystal glass headlights looks great. The profile's where it's at though. These 22-inch blacked out wheels and all the black trim, it's so elongated and stately, but powerful. And getting to the back, it is a sweet finish with these B-design LED taillights and the extra wide oval exhaust ports. This car is appropriately extravagant and intimidating. And I don't think I ever would have considered speccing a purple cabin, but this one is just fantastic with this paint job. Look at this hue with the linen accents and this, they actually call it this fiddleback eucalyptus. It's so fun to say. Anyway, props all around, Bentley, seriously. And I do have this extra cup holder to hold my beverage, which is secure, and it is just high enough to easily pick it back up. And then I went with the Italiano sandwich. Ooh, the decadence of the salami and the ham and the cheese. Oh, I'm gonna love this. And there's some other sauce in there that is just winning right now. But I guess that was just an appetizer because I'm gonna meet up with my buddy Forrest now for lunch here at Rooster and Rice. After that delicious lunch, Forrest gave me a tour of this Zeekr 9X, which is, what did you say, equivalent to like 75 grand?
If you converted it.
If you directly converted it, which of course there would be tariffs and taxes and all that kind of stuff, so it'd cost way more, but my goodness, this is an impressive vehicle. Hang on, I gotta look at the interior. Is it unlocked?
It should be. Yeah.
Look at these seats. And all the details are incredible. Softest leather, perforations, wood trim, knurled finishes on literally everything. There's a big screen that comes down. That's a whole sunroof thing. The third row of seats adjust like, so the controls right here, adjust like a Bentley.
The sound system look familiar?
Oh, the name sound system, exactly. The only sound system you find in a Bentley. I've not seen it anywhere else except one.
Yeah, I think this is the first car outside of Bentley they've made a sound system. It's crazy.
And Forrest gave me a little demo of that inside. And then it has 900 horsepower. In this spec, the dual motor, the tri-motor makes...
slow version.
It hits harder than that Bentley does in the mid-range. And then the 1400 horsepower version?
Like, I don't know, dude.
Okay, so coming from that, sit with me, join me, please, in the Bentley Flying Spur.
Oh, I love Bentley, dude. I don't think I'll ever not love Bentley.
Okay, one thing that car doesn't have, the rotating display.
It's so cool. It gets me every time. I love that this compass is always moving.
Dude, what do you think of this like plum color?
I thought it was brown at first. It's like plums and cream.
They did a nice job with the details. I mean, the stitching accents are great, and
Stitching feels real nice.
I wish this was maybe like a beech wood instead of being this wood veneer. That's just personal preference, but man.
Yeah. Maybe like a lighter wood, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. The two sunroofs.
It is. One of my favorite details is the one that no one ever sees is the fact that behind your door handle it gets the
knurled finishes, yes.
I know.
That attention to detail. Speaker covers have that nice finish to them. Even perforations here in the leather.
Rolls is definitely more old school, but the rolls, like this has more tech than the rolls. That has more tech than this. But,
yeah.
But the difference with the rolls is like everything that's metal is truly metal. This one you can tell like this stuff is just like a,
That
like a
plasticky thing.
plasticky-
This is metal though. The vent covers here are
like
metal.
that's metal.
Lunges.
I can't confirm or deny if this one is metal or not. It may be aluminum.
Yeah, that's true.
This one probably for sure because like your main piece.
Yep, yeah.
These probably. But stuff like this,
Yeah, for sure.
that's probably plastic. But like in rolls, all of that is metal. Like
Yes.
Even this little plastic hook wouldn't exist.
True,
in rolls.
true. And that's where the extra, $100,000 between this and a Ghost would be.
Yeah.
But a Ghost does not move like this.
It doesn't. I love this engine too. Does this use a PDK?
Yes. Yeah, the dual clutch.
No one would ever launch a Rolls Royce at 5,000 RPM.
No.
Like the engine wouldn't let you dump the clutches at 5,000 RPM.
It's true performance. Let's go sit in the back seat because I want to show this too. It's like a true performance car. Everything's just covered in leather and suede. Oh, vanities, of course. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I forgot my nose.
And I look way goofier than you do with a hat cam on. Oh, and you're not getting the full head pillow experience. But then again, your hair is kind of like a pillow, so.
Yeah, but then pillows make my hair frizzy, so.
There's pros and cons.
Pros and cons, yeah.
There's lots of cons sometimes.
So one thing you were showing me in that Zeekr was the screen that comes out there, but this one is, I'll be honest, quite a bit clunkier than that. That was like a smartphone. This, yeah, you can make your way around and adjust things like the blinds, which is pretty cool. But that you can do so much more with, and it's so much faster. Oh, and I'm closing out on my GoPro right now.
It's almost refreshing that this is more simplistic, because you do get overwhelmed learning all the things with a lot of these new cars.
Well, and I think that's like the Rolls-Royce argument. They make everything dumbed down so you don't have to like expense mental energy going, well, how do you adjust that setting? A physical button, you just do it. This kind of like walks that line a little bit because it does have some more tech, but everything is pretty intuitive.
Random, I'm looking at the brake pedal from here. Is the stem like carbon fiber?
Let's find out. Dude, that is carbon fiber.
What the heck?
That's carbon fiber reinforced plastic.
It's so insane.
And after that discovery, it's a new day. And I'm driving the Flying Spur towards LA to the home of former British racing driver Justin Bell, who has the new Marble Labs XP1 Racing Simulator for me to experience. And on the way, I'll be able to see about the Flying Spur's cabin quiet at highway speeds, first on these concrete slabs. So let me quiet up. Okay, so it's not like I can't hear anything. There is some tire noise on these 22-inch wheels on this particular road surface, which is always loud in the cars I'm driving. And I can just make out the outside traffic and a little bit of wind noise. But I mean, just being able to hear myself think and not needing to raise my voice to talk to you, cabin crew, is very relaxing. It's shaping up to be a splendid simulated commute. And on that drive, I do have some driving assistance features, so let me set the adaptive cruise control with the lane centering assist. It's not hands-free highway driving, which I really think it should be when you're talking about a car that you want to be as relaxing as possible. But alas, it is going to maintain the gap to the vehicle in front of me without me needing to go to the gas or brake, which is ideal for traffic-heavy scenarios or just long drives in general. And then if I was to attempt to depart my lane, it's going to pull me right back towards the center of the lane, even on curves, which is certainly useful on a drive like this. And in the name of enjoyable, there is a name sound system equipped as an option to this car here, and I've got wireless Apple CarPlay already going with navigation. Let me move over to Spotify and find what I'm looking for. All right, song has been selected. I'm using the physical volume knob to turn that up to, seems like enough at about 50%. Well, based on the fact that I never had to turn up the volume dial past where it was at maybe 50% of peak output, the wattage from this sound system is awesome. But I would have preferred a bit heavier hit of bass, and that may just require me going into the settings and turning up that as a proportion of the audio profile. Other than that, the clarity was beautiful. I could pick out the individual notes, the highs and mids were extra sharp, and I felt enveloped in the sound. Well, judging by the M5 Touring in the driveway and the brand new 911 Turbo S here, both of which are press cars, I think I made it. Oh, that was awesome. And I had a chance to compare the XP1 simulator to both iRacing and Assetto Corsa using the same hardware, same wheels, same pedal setup, and the differences were dramatic. The two biggest things that stood out to me were the feeling of front end grip in XP1 and the visual cues of the car moving around and the way it felt going over curbs and things like that. Just so much more clear, and therefore gave me more confidence, and I felt like my skills as a driver were actually improving using that versus iRacing or Assetto. My dream would be if one day either iRacing or Assetto Corsa were using the XP1 as their physics engine. That would just be so cool. Now let's test the practicality with a run to Costco to benefit the charity Families Forward. We are loaded up here, and it's heating up. The end of January. Goodness sakes, SoCal, take it easy. Anyway, is the Bentley Flying Spur going to have the capacity for all these charitable goods? There are a couple things to point out before I begin. One, you cannot fold down the rear seats at all, so this is all we have to work with. And two, I feel like some of the hybrid powertrain components are housed either underneath this floor or behind that backing, and that's why it's shallow in height and depth. But enough disclaimers, let's get to work. I think I'm off to a good start. I've managed to fill in the trunk depth so I can use the remaining space here for these items. Guys, I think I did it. I got everything in there and left just enough space for the cup of noodles to, come on, squeeze in, and it fits. Oh, come on. Yeah, so I might have forgotten about the toilet paper, but at least it's soft, so it can go in the back without doing any damage. Whee! Now, after returning my cart like a responsible shopper, I can confirm that the Bentley Flying Spur Speed is Costco approved with a toilet paper passenger. It's about time to refuel this 21-gallon tank, and this car is EPA rated at 19 combined MPGe, but if you factor in that battery and its 30-mile EV range, then you're looking at 46 combined MPGe equivalent. During my time with the car, and only replenishing that battery once, I've seen just about 19 MPG. And at current fuel prices of $4.75 for the required 91 octane gas. It's gonna cost me $100 to fill this tank, and there isn't capless fueling, but there is a really cool fuel filler cap in aluminum. Still, have to work a little bit harder. Well, crew, at the beginning of this video, I pondered what it would be like to live with the sportiest ultra-luxe sedan. And after quality time spent behind the wheel, I'm fairly convinced this is the ideal daily driver four-door. The Zen morning shuffle starts in EV calm before transitioning to a silky V8 commute and then a back road blast on the drive home. Dancing on the line between refinement and invigoration, the Flying Spur Speed is graceful athleticism. Time spent behind this wheel is soothing, and yet the styling conveys strength and dynamism, and the interior is equally plush and attractive. Among the very few daily driving irritants, I would call out the seat massage that times out too quickly and a shallow trunk. But the combination of low 3-second runs to 60 and high MPGs seems to overshadow such nuisances. And all it'll cost you is $350,000. What a deal. I hope you guys have enjoyed this day in the life, and I will see you again next time.